Hey guys, so in the video I filmed just prior to the one that I'm filming right this second, I had talked about using proper PPE while you are collecting specimens. And so I actually have some expired lab supplies that I was told I could take home to practice with. And I want to try to see if I can show you guys what I mean with like the tubes, because I had talked about like when you're drawing blood or collecting a specimen, even when you're transferring from, say you did like a butterfly and you put it in a syringe, right? When you are putting it in the tube, there tends to be some blood like on the top of the cap. So this is just a UA preservative tube. I'm using this one just because the ones that I have are red tubes, and the other expired ones I have are just red tubes, and they are kind of difficult to see the cap of, so I figured we can use the UA tube just to kind of show so that you guys can get an idea of what I mean for safety's sake. So if you guys aren't interested in watching this little demonstration that I'm trying to come up with here on the fly, definitely stay tuned for my next video. I will probably have something a little bit more interesting. However, if you guys are interested in seeing what I'm talking about, definitely stay tuned. So like I said, I am going to use this BD Vacutainer UA preservative tube just because it has this color cap, and I'm hoping that this works how it normally does when I'm at work. So what I have to try to show a color other than water, I have a little bit of soy sauce in this container, and I'm going to open my 10cc syringe. Now this is normally what I would use at work if I am using a butterfly needle. So I do have my butterfly needle here, and let me open that up. Now, I am not wearing gloves because I don't have gloves at home. So obviously, if you were in a clinic setting, you would be wearing gloves. So we just have the butterfly setup. As you can see, it does have the lure lock end, and you just screw that off there. And then this goes right onto the syringe. So like I said, normally when I'm drawing blood using a butterfly needle setup, this is the setup that I'm using. We do have different things that we can use to directly pull into a tube, but I find this easier. We do have bigger syringes if you need more tubes of blood. Like this actually goes up to 12 if you want to pull it all the way. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull some soy sauce into my syringe. So give me just a second here. Obviously, this is going slow because I am kind of, normally I would have it down. I just wanted to show you guys that I am pulling it into the syringe. So I'm going to bring it down here. And again, this is just to kind of show you guys what I mean by like potentially coming into contact with bodily fluids that you weren't intending to. So let's see. I've got just under 4 milliliters of soy sauce now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle. As you can see, it touched the soy sauce. So if you had accidentally touched the patient's skin without wearing gloves, and you then touch this, look, I have soy sauce blood on my skin. So normally, before you cover the needle, if you're using a syringe setup, you are going to then put your needle into the tube, right? And obviously, you know, I didn't fill it up super much, but it's going in there slowly. There you go. So now when I go to pull this out, okay, so I'm pulling this out and I am covering up the needle. Let's see. So you can see here where I stuck the needle in at. There's actually a drop of soy sauce, blood. And then there's another one that is right off of it. So that's something to keep in mind, because let's say this was, you know, your situation, right? And this is the patient's blood, not soy sauce. If you're not wearing gloves and you go to touch this, what if you accidentally brush your hand over the lid of the tube for whatever reason? I'm not sure why you would, but again, you never know what could happen in an actual situation. So if you had soy sauce or blood on the top of your tube and then you touch it, you're coming into contact with that person's blood. So this was obviously not a realistic situation with soy sauce, but if it was actual blood, a lot of things could happen that are not good. And definitely also when you are putting obviously your needle into the safety device, right? If you accidentally touch that needle somehow because you're not following the proper way to do things, you could also come into contact. If you disconnect these things, because obviously you can disconnect this. If you're not thinking and you disconnect this before you dispose of it, look at that. There's a bubble on the top, right? You could accidentally touch that. There's blood, or soy sauce blood, on the end of this, right? So you should never undo that either. This whole thing should go into a sharps container. You should never disconnect the tubing from the syringe. Obviously, this is things that you should have been taught, but just based on that person's question, I don't know what is actually being taught in, you know, the online programs. I did do an online program and I didn't get any externship at all because when I did mine, it was during COVID, and then I ended up moving before they were able to secure me a spot in an externship after months of waiting to be placed in an externship. Because I moved in June, I graduated, well, I was eligible for externship in February or March. And so I never got to do an externship. So I think it's great that you're getting to do an externship. Obviously, people who get to do that externship experience, you will learn a lot of things. And hopefully this is one of the things that you're learning in your externship. Just be very, very careful when you're handling any specimens, handling any like blood or bodily fluids, anything like that, or anything that could potentially have those substances or fluids on them. Keep those things in mind. And yeah, hopefully me using my soy sauce little experiment helped you to understand. Obviously this would not be right because you need a minimum and a maximum in a urine tube, but this is just because, you know, you're able to see the color on the lid better than the regular red top tube that I have. So anyway, that is it for this video. If you guys have any questions or if you would like me to talk about or explain anything else, I would be more than happy to do so. And with that being said, that's all I have for this video. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I'll see you again next time.